This week I'm going to show you how to make this simple but delicious pot roast with vegetables. This is the perfect Sunday dinner. First thing I'm going to do is to cut up my vegetables, and I am using celery, onion, and carrots. And I'm cutting the vegetables into large chunks because this is going to cook for a while and we don't want it to become mushy. I'm also using Yukon Gold potatoes, which I've cut in half. Next, I'm going to season the meat liberally with salt and black pepper on both sides. And I'm using beef chuck roast, but you can also use brisket or round roast. This is the perfect dish for tougher cuts of meat because the long cooking time breaks down the fibers and makes it tender. Once I've seasoned both sides of the meat, I'm just going to pat it in just to make sure it sticks to the meat. And then I am going to flour both sides. And this flour just helps to thicken the sauce as it cooks. If you're new here, I am Gian of Gian Can Cook, where I share a ton of recipes. If you're interested in making this recipe, I will have the recipe linked below in the description box, and it will lead you over to my blog. That way you can save it, you can email it, you can pin it. The next step is to brown the meat, and to my pan I'm adding the beef, and I'm using an oven safe pan. This is a cast iron. I get a lot of questions about it, so I will leave it linked below in the description box. Once the meat has browned on one side, you're going to flip it over and allow it to brown on the other side as well. The reason why you need an oven safe pot is because this entire thing with the meat, the vegetables, everything is going to go straight into the oven. Now that the meat is browned, I'm going to add the vegetables and allow those to brown for a little bit. Now I felt as though it needed a little bit more oil, so I'm adding about a half a teaspoon. And I'm just going to stir these around and let it cook for about maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Next, I'm adding a few cloves of garlic, and I'll just let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes before removing all of the vegetables. Once I've set the vegetables aside, I am going to add tomato paste, and I like to buy my tomato paste in a tube. It's very convenient and it keeps for a long time in the fridge. I'm also adding beef broth, and I'm going to add a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce. Now once that comes to a boil, I am going to add the meat and all of the juices along with all of the vegetables back into the pot. And I'm going to add the vegetables around the meat. I want it to be in the sauce. Now you want to make sure that you have preheated your oven to 350 degrees. This is going to cook for about 2 to 2.5 hours depending on the size of your roast. And I'm just adding the potatoes along with fresh rosemary and a couple sprigs of thyme. And I'm just going to try to stick those down just to make sure it gets into the broth. So all of this dish is going to have the flavor of the herbs. I'm going to cover it and then place it into the oven and set the timer and let it cook. And this is a great meal. You can have it with rice, you can have it by itself because you do have the potatoes, and this is pretty much what it looks like. It's tender, it's so full of flavor. It doesn't require a ton of work. The potatoes are perfectly cooked, the carrots still have a bit of bite to it, and the gravy has become thick and luscious. And you can just simply pull it apart and enjoy. Thank you guys for joining me, and if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.